Have you ever said something and immediately wished you hadn't? Something that made you look impulsive, shallow, or even foolish, even when you're not. Have you ever thought, if only I had held my tongue, I could have appeared so much wiser? If so, you're not alone. And today, I'm going to share with you 6 things that an intelligent person, someone following the wisdom of Stoic philosophy, never says. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel and like this video if you're serious about mastering yourself, improving your mind, and changing your love life, friendships, and career forever. And please watch this video all the way through, because sometimes the smallest shift in what you say or don't say makes the biggest difference in how the world responds to you. The Emperor Marcus Aurelius, one of the wisest leaders in history, sat quietly in the cool marble halls of his palace. Every day, countless politicians, generals, and philosophers came to him seeking advice. But Marcus was different from other rulers. He wasn't boastful. He wasn't impulsive. He chose his words carefully, like a man walking barefoot across shattered glass. One day, a young Roman senator, full of ambition but little wisdom, came to Marcus for advice. "Tell me, O wise emperor," he said arrogantly, "what should a man say to make others admire his intelligence?" Marcus smiled gently. "It is not what a man says that reveals his wisdom," he replied. "It is often what he refuses to say that shows how intelligent he truly is." The young senator frowned, confused. Marcus leaned forward and whispered, "Listen well, for these are the 6 things a wise and intelligent man will never say. 1. That's just the way I am. Have you ever heard yourself say, "That's just the way I am"? Maybe in a fight with someone you loved? Maybe when they asked you to be a little more patient, a little more understanding, or just to show you care a little more? Maybe right now, you're thinking about a moment like that, a memory tucked deep inside your heart, a night when things could have been different. If only you had said the right words. Take a second. Close your eyes if you want. Can you remember someone you truly loved, but somehow lost because you refused to change? Because you told yourself, "This is just who I am, take it or leave it." If you can feel that little ache in your chest right now, then you're already understanding the wisdom Marcus Aurelius tried to teach. You see, in the quiet halls of his palace, Marcus Aurelius didn't spend his nights thinking about conquering nations. He spent them writing letters to himself. Letters about becoming better every single day. Letters about love, about kindness, about change. He believed that no matter how deeply rooted our habits are, no matter how stubborn our hearts can be, we are not statues carved from stone. We are rivers, always moving, always able to find a new path. When we say, "That's just the way I am," what we're really doing is building a wall that keeps out growth, a wall that keeps out love. Because let me ask you, what if your greatest love story never happened, just because you refused to change a little? What if the person who once looked at you with stars in their eyes walked away, not because they stopped loving you, but because you stopped growing? We sometimes think that love should accept everything, no matter what. And yes, true love accepts a lot. But love isn't blind acceptance of our worst habits. Real love is 2 people growing together, pushing each other to be better, softer, stronger. Think back to your favorite love memory. Was it the time you stubbornly refused to listen? Or was it the time you surprised them by showing you could change, even a little, just because you cared? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. It is the truth I seek, and the truth never harmed anyone." Real strength, real intelligence, is not standing firm when you're wrong. It's bending gracefully toward truth, toward love, toward the person you want to become. So the next time you feel those stubborn words rise up, "That's just the way I am," pause. Remember the love you could protect. Remember the future you could create. Remember that you are a river, not a rock. You can flow. You can change. You can become something even more beautiful than you are right now. Because the truth is, the best version of you is still waiting to be born. And someone out there, maybe someone you already know, maybe someone you haven't even met yet, is praying that you won't give up on your own growth. 2. It's not my fault. Have you ever been in love with someone? Someone who meant the world to you, and then somehow things fell apart? But instead of sitting down and owning your part in it, you said to yourself, "It's not my fault. I did nothing wrong. They just didn't understand me." Maybe you're remembering someone right now, Someone whose eyes once looked at you like you were the whole world. And maybe deep down you feel it, that small regret. The moment you chose your pride over your love. You see, when Marcus Aurelius ruled Rome, he faced betrayal, war, plague, things so much bigger than heartbreak. And yet, in the privacy of his writings, he kept reminding himself, blaming others is easy, but blaming others makes you weak. Because every time you say, it's not my fault, you're not protecting yourself. You're handing over your power. You're saying, I have no control. I am just a victim of the world. But you're not. You have so much more power than you realize. Think about the person you loved most. Were there moments when you could have paused, listened a little more, loved a little better? Or did you convince yourself that because they hurt you first, you didn't have to try anymore? That because they misunderstood you, you didn't have to explain yourself with love? Marcus Aurelius wrote, choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. He's telling us something beautiful. You always have a choice. You can choose how you see things. You can choose to own your story even when it hurts. Imagine if, instead of blaming the person you loved, you had said, maybe I wasn't perfect either. Maybe I could have loved them better. Maybe next time I will. How different would your love story be today? How many sleepless nights could you have avoided? How many moments of silence could have been filled with laughter instead? Because the truth is, blame keeps us chained to the past. Responsibility sets us free for a better future. I want you to think about it now. Is there someone you need to forgive, maybe even yourself? Is there a love you lost, not because you weren't good enough, but because you weren't willing to take even a little responsibility for the cracks that formed? Maybe tonight you can write a letter you never send. Maybe you can whisper an apology in your heart. Maybe you can promise yourself that next time, with the next love, or with the people who are still standing beside you, you will be braver. You will be softer. You will own your part with pride. Because when you stop blaming, you start healing, and you start opening the door for a deeper, stronger kind of love. The kind that lasts. 3. That's impossible. Have you ever looked at someone you loved so much and thought, there's no way we'll make it through this? It's impossible. Maybe you fought over something you thought was too big to fix. Maybe distance grew between you like a river too wide to cross. Maybe you told yourself, it's too late. We're too broken. It's impossible. If you're honest, maybe you can feel that ache right now. That one love you thought could last forever, but you gave up because the mountain in front of you looked too high to climb. Now think about it. What if it wasn't impossible? What if all it needed was a different kind of strength? The kind Marcus Aurelius wrote about every night by candlelight? Marcus believed that the only thing that is truly impossible is what we decide not to even attempt. He wrote, because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. You see, when we're hurting, when we're scared, our mind plays tricks on us. It whispers, you can't fix this. It's too late. It convinces us that giving up is safer than trying and failing. But let me ask you, what's your favorite memory of love? Is it the moment when everything was easy? Or was it the time when things were hard, but you fought for it anyway? When two people love each other, storms are inevitable. Misunderstandings happen, pain happens, but real love, and the kind you tell your grandchildren about, is not built during the sunny days. It's built in the storms. It's built when one person says, I know it looks impossible right now, but I believe in us anyway. Maybe right now there's someone in your heart. Maybe there's a bridge that feels burned, a distance that feels too wide, and maybe a small part of you still wonders, was it really impossible? Marcus would tell you, the human spirit is stronger than any fear, stronger than any distance, stronger than any mistake. He would tell you to try again, to rebuild stone by stone if you must, because most of the time when we think something is impossible, we're really just afraid to try. We're afraid of the work it will take, afraid of the vulnerability it will demand. But isn't love worth it? Isn't the person who once made your heart race worth fighting for? Even if you fail, isn't it better to have fought for them with everything you had than to live wondering, what if I had tried just one more time? Tonight, maybe you can be the person who refuses to give up so easily. Maybe you can believe in something bigger than fear, bigger than pride, bigger than the idea of impossible, because love, real love, is never impossible for a heart that refuses to quit. 4. I already know that. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone you loved deeply? Someone who meant the world to you, and when they tried to open their heart to you, you shut them down with just a few words? I already know that. You don't have to tell me. I get it. Maybe you didn't mean to hurt them. Maybe you were just tired or stressed or scared. But maybe, just maybe, those few simple words built a wall between two hearts that used to beat as one. Take a moment right now. Can you remember a time when someone you loved tried to reach you, and you didn't let them in? It's okay. We all have those moments. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It is impossible for a person to begin to learn that which he thinks he already knows." Think about that for a second. If you already believe you know everything, how can you ever really hear the person standing right in front of you? Imagine someone you loved, desperately trying to tell you how they feel, how much they need you, how much they wish you would just listen. But all they hear back is, I know. Sometimes thinking we know closes the door on understanding. Sometimes assuming we've heard it all before means we miss the moment when someone is offering us their heart. Love isn't about knowing. It's about learning and again. Learning who your person is today. Learning how their dreams have changed. Learning how their fears have grown quieter or louder. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really truly listened to someone you loved, not waiting for your turn to speak, not trying to prove you already knew the answer? Just listening, feeling every word, seeing the soul behind their eyes. Maybe right now there's a memory rising inside you, a conversation that could have gone differently, a love that could have been saved if only you had listened just a little longer. Marcus believed that wisdom isn't about having all the answers. Wisdom is about staying open, staying humble, staying willing to see the person you love as new every single day. Because here's the truth. People change. Love changes. And if you want your love story to last, you have to keep falling in love with who they are becoming, not who you think they are. So the next time someone you love tries to tell you how they feel, pause, breathe, listen as if you're hearing them for the first time. Because maybe, just maybe, that moment of listening could save a love you thought you already understood. And maybe, just maybe, it could grow into something even more beautiful than before. Hey, I can't help it. Have you ever hurt someone you loved? Not because you wanted to, but because you believed you just couldn't help it? Maybe you lost your temper. Maybe you shut down when they needed you most. Maybe you walked away when they were begging you to stay. And afterward, you whispered to yourself, I can't help it. That's just how I am. Can you feel that memory stirring inside you right now? That small, quiet ache you've carried ever since. The one that reminds you that love isn't just about how we feel. It's about what we choose. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the Roman world, wrote in his private journal, not for the world, but for himself. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. He didn't say we have power only when it's easy. He didn't say we have power only when we feel like it. He said always, even when it feels impossible, even when our old habits scream louder than our love. The truth is, when we say, I can't help it, what we're really saying is, I choose not to try. And maybe in the moment it feels safer, easier, more comfortable to stay who we are than to stretch toward who we could become. But think about someone you loved, someone who needed you to be a little stronger, a little more patient, a little softer. Did telling yourself I can't help it make you feel powerful? Or did it leave you with regret, wondering what could have been different if you had tried? Maybe right now, you're thinking of the nights you replayed conversations in your head, thinking about the moment you could have paused instead of reacting, could have opened your arms instead of turning away. Marcus would tell you, strength isn't in never feeling anger. Strength is feeling it and still choosing kindness, still choosing love. You are not your habits. You are not your first reaction. You are something far greater, something capable of growth, of change, of becoming. Let me ask you, what if the next time you feel yourself slipping into old patterns, you whispered to yourself, I do have a choice. I am stronger than this. Imagine how different your love story could be if you believed that. If you fought for the people who matter most. Not just when it was easy, but especially when it was hard. Because the strongest loves aren't built by perfect people. They're built by imperfect people who refuse to give up on trying, on growing, on loving better tomorrow than they did today. You can help it. You always could.
And when you believe that,
you'll be amazed how much love your heart can hold. 6. They are lucky I'm not. Have you ever looked at someone else's love story? Their smiles, their happiness, their hand-holding moments, and thought to yourself, they're so lucky. Why doesn't that happen to me? Maybe you've watched two people laugh in a coffee shop. Maybe you've seen a couple dancing slowly at a wedding, and a small voice inside whispered, "Why is love so easy for them? And so hard for me?" Maybe even now there's a memory bubbling up. A time when you loved someone with your whole heart, and it still fell apart, and you wondered if love just wasn't meant for you. Marcus Aurelius faced the same temptation, to believe life was unfair, to believe others were blessed while he bore the weight of an empire alone. But in his quiet moments, he wrote to himself, "Don't envy others. A thorn bush or a rose, both bloom according to their nature." You see, Marcus understood something powerful. Luck doesn't build a beautiful life. Choice does, effort does, courage does. It's easy to look at someone else's happiness and imagine they were simply handed it, that their love story was written in the stars while yours was somehow forgotten. But you don't see the tears they cried in private. You don't see the forgiveness they fought for. You don't see the hard conversations, the second chances, the nights they stayed when it would have been easier to leave. You only see the bloom, not the storms that shaped it. Let me ask you, think about your own love story. Think about the moments when you almost gave up but didn't. Think about the times you chose to love even when it hurt. Aren't those the moments that mattered most? It's not about luck. It's about choosing love again and again, even when the world tells you to give up. Maybe right now you feel like you're behind, like everyone else found their happy ending and you're still stuck in the middle of your story. But hear me, you are exactly where you need to be. Your love story isn't late. It isn't broken. It's just still being written. And every time you choose to hope instead of envy, every time you choose to believe instead of complain, you are building something stronger than luck could ever give you. You are building faith, character, depth, the kind of love that doesn't just survive the storms. It is made beautiful because of them. So the next time you feel yourself thinking, "They are lucky I'm not," remember this. You don't need luck. You have strength, you have courage. You have the power to create a love story so deep, so powerful, that others will look at you someday and whisper, "They're so lucky," without even knowing the battles you fought to get there. And when that day comes, you'll smile, because you'll know the truth. It was never about luck. It was about never giving up on love. And so the young senator listened carefully as Marcus Aurelius finished speaking. He realized it wasn't clever speeches, impressive words, or long debates that made a man wise. It was silence over foolish excuses. It was acceptance over blame. It was courage over despair. It was humility over pride. It was authenticity over indifference. And it was action over delay. The young senator bowed his head grateful and left the palace a different man. You see, my friend, you don't need to add more to become wise. Sometimes you just need to remove the wrong words from your mouth and the wrong thoughts from your mind. Remember, never say, "That's just the way I am." Never say, "It's not my fault." Never say, "That's impossible." Never say, "I already know that." Never say, "I don't care." Never say, "I'll do it later." Follow these simple yet profound principles from Marcus Aurelius and watch how your life transforms. Your relationships will deepen. Your opportunities will multiply. And most importantly, your self-respect will soar. Because in the end, intelligence isn't just about knowing things. It's about how you live and how you speak. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.